Okay, today we're talking about hubs. Um, I've been trying to figure out an easy way to manufacture Whirlygig hubs, as I know a lot of you guys out there are also having trouble with this. I see a lot of questions on some of the websites, and what are the easiest way to make a hub. I want to share with you my solution, which makes me create a 4-blade hub probably within 3 minutes. So we've all seen the the hubs that start with your typical round, which is easy to do, right? I mean, most people have a circle cutter and with a drill, and it creates the circle in the center at the same time, or the hole in the center at the same time, which is great. Now, the problem I found with this particular hub design is that they're not easy to make. You have to use a table saw. And I've seen some guys, which are very crafty, they create a jig, and that jig basically there's a clamp and holds this, and then they mark this at several different degrees, and then they have to hold on to it and pass it along the table saw, and then you get something that looks like this. Now, the problem I have with that, there's a few problems with this. The first of all, the actual line here that it creates is not quite wide enough for a blade. So once you pass it once on the table saw, you have to shift it over just ever so slightly to pass it again to make that a little wider. I found that this particular edge here was not solid enough that sometimes it would break or flip off. You have to use glue because there's no way to, or if there is a way, I'm not sure how to do it, but I mean, there's no way to screw this together. So, like I said, there's a few issues with this hub, and if the guys are using it, that's great. But I just found it very cumbersome to manufacture. Now, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of angles. With your table saw, you got to be at a perfect angle and so on. So I thought there's got to be an easier way. So I thought of making it a square instead of a round. So that was my first go-to. The square, the advantage to that is that it lied flat on the table in a table saw. So when I put it on the jig, it would basically lie flat. Then I could turn it 90 degrees and turn it 90 degrees. Not a bad design. It was okay, but again, not the right size, not consistent with the right size of slot. This end here tends to chip a little bit. When you put the blade in it, you have to use glue. So again, this is outdoor application, so I'm not sure that it doesn't do a really clean job. Not sure that that would be the right solution either. So I went to this, and I basically then created this hub here. Now this hub has 30-degree angles on each side like that. And the beauty of this hub is that your blade, now this is not a blade, this is just a piece of wood, but your blade would basically go in like that, and then it could be fastened with one screw right into that back portion. Not a bad design. It was, I was on my way to creating something. I thought that was kind of interesting. And to be able to manufacture this, it was a two-piece. So I have a dado blade I put on my table saw, and away we go. We dado both sides. It has to be very precise, or else it would tend to move a little bit and jiggle, and maybe your 90 degree wouldn't be perfect. Had to line up the holes to drill perfectly through. Like I said, the design was on its way, and it was on a good path, but not exactly what I was looking for. So then I created this hub here. Now this is a one-piece piece of wood. It's a cedar, And to create this, like I said, it takes me about 3 minutes. And what I do is I start with a blank piece of 2x4. Sorry, a blank piece of 2x4. That piece of 2x4 is exactly square on the table saw. I put it perfectly square. It's about 3 inches across this way. And then I take a 1-inch ruler and I mark it just like that. Now, once I mark that, I basically have created myself a 30-degree fence. And that fence looks like this. Took a piece of plywood, high density plywood, cut it at 30 degrees. Took another piece of wood, cut it at 30 degrees, and then I glued them together, and you'll see here I put some nails in there from my nailer. So it's nice and smooth this way, okay? Now, what I've done after that, what I do after that, let me move some of the stuff here out of the way, is I clamp it onto my bandsaw, just like that. Let me move sideways a little bit so you guys get to see what's going on. All right, so I clamp it on to my table saw, bandsaw, sorry. Once I clamp this on, I look at, first of all, the back of my piece of wood. I lean it up 30 degrees just like that. And then I look at my lines, which are on this side. And my first cut, I go from here to here. Then I turn and I go from here to here. And I turn and I do that 4 times. I follow my 4 lines. Obviously, because it's square, perfectly square, it's easy to find the center hole after that either, to drill whatever hole I need for my axle for my blades. So once I do that, once I do all 4 cuts, right, then I take my my fence and I turn it 90 degrees. And then I use my miter saw. Not my miter saw, my miter gauge. Now let me show you my miter gauge. Slips in just like that. And again, I put my block on its back, but this time I cut this line and go all the way to this line like that. And I turn it and I just line it up whenever I'm cutting it. All I do is stick my head in there, show you, see if I can put a little angle here. Go like that. So I'm basically doing this. Maybe I could put it in the back like that. Is that better? Yeah, kind of. And I could basically come along like this. I hold on to my fence and I hold on to my miter gauge, obviously set at 90 degrees. And right where the blade meets that line, I cut all the way across. And once I cut across, right, then I end up with a whole bunch of lines in it. And basically those pieces of wood will typically just fall off. And that's where you end up with, and I'm looking for it now, but that's how you end up with this. See that? Now you're going to say, oh well, maybe there's one line that goes right through it. Then yeah, that's possible, but it's still extremely solid. Now let me show you what it looks like once I put my propeller on it. So my propeller is just a piece of 2x4 that I shaved down to, I don't know, maybe about 1/8 of an inch, and drilled my hole right in the center of this hub, and one screw, just the one screw in there. It's a brass screw that I put in, and because the back of the blade leans up against the hub, it can't go anywhere. It can't shift. It holds it really, really solid, just like that. So I'm gonna cut this this piece for you. And later I'll try and edit so that you don't hear the noise, but I'm gonna give it a shot. And I don't think it matters if you start with one or the other, but I'm just gonna start it this way. It's probably easier that way. And look at this, line, like that, all the way around. My blade's not very sharp, that's why I'm getting a bit of, like that. Now, by turning it like this, you can't put the fence on this side. It has to be on the right side, okay? I learned that the hard way. The angles don't work if you try to put it on the other side of the blade. So, got these clamps, because my saw did not come with a fence. I line it up basically by doing this. Pardon me. I line it up, and I'll show you that in a minute. Like that. And like that. Put one in the back. Move that over for you. See how my blade, I need it up against the back, and my blade lines up with that line right there, but I don't go all the way. I stop right there, and that piece should just fall off. So if it doesn't, I can finish it with my little hand saw, you know, because I'm precise, but it's not 100% precise. And basically, I'm going to create a cut right there, like that. Here we go. Just with the little hand saw, you just do it quickly. move this on camera. Right here. Just cut on an angle like that. I know this is not the perfect setup, but there you go. See that? And you do that 4 times, and you do end up with the hub that will look like this, And all I gotta do is drill a hole in the middle of it, and it'll hold my 4 blades at exactly 30 degrees. Let me know what you think.